I first got into Breaking Bad in season 3 or something and followed it until the end. And I thought it was a really good show, but I didn't rewatch it until very recently. About 5 years after it wrapped up, and I have to say it still holds up. It's a really good show. However, I also have to admit that I'm a huge fan of Better Call Saul as well. So needless to say, I'm a huge fan of Vince Gilligan, the creator of those shows and this movie. He's just a brilliant storyteller and writer, but he's also got a strong sense for the visual side of things. But with that being said, the whole idea of making a Breaking Bad movie 5 years after the show ended seemed a little bit unnecessary. Mainly because the show didn't get cancelled, it ended, and Vince got to tell the story he wanted to tell, in the way he wanted to. And my other worry was that, well, he's mostly worked in TV, which is a very different medium than film. In movies you don't have 60 episodes to tell a complete story. You have 2 hours. However, that was less of a worry because at this point I trust Vince to know what he's doing. But yeah, I couldn't help but to feel like the whole idea of this movie felt a bit unnecessary. But at the same time, I love Vince's work and want to see more of it, so I wasn't exactly against it either. But I knew this one would have to put in some work to win me over and justify its existence. Well, did it? Sorta, kinda, mostly. I did end up enjoying this quite a bit. And the story here picks up right after the show ends and follows Jesse. So we finally get to know what happened after he drove off. Not that it's something that's been keeping me up at night, because I thought the show did give him a satisfying ending. He got away. But apparently it's something people have been wanting to know more about. And apparently it's something that Vince thought was worth exploring as well. Now going into this, I was kinda curious about what he would do with this. To make it, fit into the Breaking Bad continuum. Would he make it into an actual standalone movie, maybe exploring Jesse's new life? Or would he make it into more of an extended episode? Well, as I said, it picks up right after the show ends, and it actually focuses on a fairly short time span as well. The time immediately after he drives off, which makes it a perfect continuation of the show. However, yeah, I don't think this works as a standalone movie. And if you're unfamiliar with the show, I don't think this will work for you all that well. I mean, it does give you some context, and it even adds some flashbacks. Quite a few of them actually, something I'm usually not a huge fan of. But in this case it definitely works, because it's pretty much all new stuff. It goes back in time, but it shows you stuff you haven't seen before. It fills in some gaps and gives you some additional context. Context that's very important for the events that take place in the rest of the movie. And that's what I love about Vince's writing. It's so layered and detailed. Everything matters, and the way he constructs a narrative is just brilliant. And he hasn't lost a step with this one. He's at the top of his game. I mean, the writing here is absolutely phenomenal, especially for nerds like me who love brilliant writing above everything else. And the movie is fun, it's entertaining, it jumps right back into it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun ride, and I don't have any real complaints about the movie itself. However, as I said, it does very much feel like an extended episode of the show. And I don't think it works as a standalone movie for people who haven't seen the show. And as such, Vince hasn't convinced me that he's really built for writing movies. Because a lot of what makes this movie work is the greater context of the TV show. And without it, this would probably feel pretty disjointed and awkward. So there's that, which isn't really a problem at all as long as you've seen the TV show. But there is one other thing too. I mean, the movie was cool and all. However, was it really necessary? What did it actually add to the Breaking Bad story? It felt a bit like an epilogue and like an extension of the main story. But the main story was always about Walter White, and that got wrapped up in the TV show. And as I said, Jesse got an ending too, one that I didn't mind at all. And I definitely wasn't clamoring to know what happened next. The story was done and I was happy with that. And now there's this epilogue. And I'm still pretty happy with that, so at least for me personally it didn't really change much. But it was fun and I enjoyed it, so that's always good. I can't complain too much. And as I mentioned, I don't really have any issues with the movie itself. The execution was great overall, and I think the whole crew did a great job. But how about it? Would I recommend this? If you've seen the show and liked it, definitely. If not, you can probably skip it. Or, don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.